Welcome back, guys. Cyberspear and Pup Slushy here with you to bring you the next game of the winners bracket. We have the winners final this time going with Render, who we just watched against BGC Scarlet, and Illuminati, who just beat Sheepherd in their game. So I know you said you were a little biased towards Illuminati
Yeah,
earlier.
I kind of feel bad now at this point. I don't. I hope Sheep doesn't kind of blame me for speaking it out into
oh,
existence. I don't want them to think that I don't have all the love for them that I do. Um, it
but
looks like we're gonna do Aquarius CTF to start out. What do you think about starting off a series of games with CTF? Like, what could that do mentally, or like positively or negatively to teams out here?
So I think it's just really difficult to start, and this is just a personal thing. I think it's difficult to start off with these more strategical game modes like CTF or Oddball, just because it makes it a little harder to feel out how the team plays, just in an overall sense, because they're trying to just push the tactics or the strategies that they know best. So I'm not a big fan of starting with CTF, but I think either team, we already saw Render, for instance, just kind of dominate in CTF. So they obviously know their strategies pretty well. So we'll see how Illuminati does. Illuminati again has won the last two, um, with the last two Spirit of Combats, that is. So, we'll see definitely how they want to pull this one out. But Aquarius is definitely my favorite map for CTF, though. I don't know about you.
I could not disagree more. Like,
Really?
I think Bazaar, like what we saw last match with Scarlet and Render, Bazaar is my favorite. I feel like there's enough open space, but I feel like
Mhm.
everything's so close together. I mean, Aquarius, you see the quick pulls, throwing the flag down low and just kind of waiting. I feel like it's too much of a waiting game. And then I feel like uh, once respawns happens, there's not enough time to get back once somebody makes a run for their base with the flag. But I mean, that's just you know a part of a different tactic for a different map.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, with close quarters, it can be definitely a bit more difficult. So both teams are definitely have to figure out how to kind of run this without having so much fluidity and movement going on as they did with Bazaar, for instance. There's a lot more containment going on. So yeah, we will definitely just have to see how Render wants to run this one compared to the last match they just did.
no, absolutely. And I mean, I think this might make or break either team. We got both top seeds right here, Illuminati and then Render. I think this is when they get into the other one's head. Like,
Absolutely.
if somebody can take a win, even like a big win by like a larger margin, it might take over the rest of this match right here. Might get in the head of the losing team. Maybe get them down in Slayer the next map. Oddball after that. I mean, it's really just
So yeah, I think also, so both teams are undefeated for the day so far. So we really haven't seen what it looks like when Render is kind of in that losers bracket. And welcome
looks like
back.
we are doing a server relaunch. That's Halo Infinite for you. There's no possible way that could be Game Arena. We're
No,
too
absolutely.
smart out here for that.
It's much
So it's
easier to
Halo
blame
Infinite's fault right
343.
here. Yeah. Yeah, it
But
looks like teams are starting to stand up, trying to get a server reset.
yeah,
But
but
um,
so I was saying, we haven't seen either of these teams lose here today. So, and Render being new to the Spirit of Combat, it will be interesting to see kind of how they decide or want to try and run whenever they're, kind of behind at any point, So, because we were talking about BGC earlier, kind of once you have that mental go and you start to slip behind, and then it just kind of affects you a little bit.
no,
So
absolutely.
we'll see how Render can kind of handle that if and when they fall behind, and same with Illuminati, you don't want to be the team behind, but how you handle being behind can definitely change everything. But while we're waiting for the server reset, I think we're going to go ahead and take just a quick break, and we will be back with you guys shortly.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Looks like, and we hopefully got past those technical issues, getting the servers back up. We're gonna try to get into this game as soon as we can for you guys.
So to reiterate, we are doing Aquarius CTF for this first match of the winners finals between Illuminati and Render Esports. So I know, like John was saying here, Pup Slushy was saying here earlier, that he's kind of biased towards Illuminati. Um, where does that bias kind of stem from, man?
I mean, history, I guess. I mean, I, g- they came out for the launch party, ultimately labeled as the first Spirit of Combat. Um, Mike Fathom was on that team. I don't think he had any of the current players he has now. Um, but and then in the last Spirit of Combat, they took the grand finals with almost this full team. Looks like Manifest. Oop, not quite getting the camo. But it's pretty much their full team from the last Spirit of Combat where they took the grand finals, except for Blind Dreams, which replaced someone on the roster. And Blind Dreams came from Calling All Angels, who was also in the grand finals, but it was taken from him by Illuminati at the time.
So it definitely looks like the teams are kind of set up back and forth right now.
It looks pretty even on the scoreboard at the moment. Kind of just trading. It looks like might be a yep. And there's that strategy we see in just about every Aquarius game. Throw it down, wait for everybody to come out, try to return it, pick them off, make a run for it.
I definitely, as far as CTF goes for the first game mode, as I was saying, I'm not the biggest fan just because you typically want to feel out the team you're playing against, and this is one of the more difficult modes to do that with, just because everybody's going to be running differently than they would in any, in Slayer or in Oddball.
Alright, Manifest not quite getting the flag, but at least got a reset to leave it on the map a little bit longer. Hopefully his team can find their way to it. And then we got Wrath of Sweat waiting back here, hoping his team can return that flag so we can just get that quick cap.
Now, Wrath of Sweat in the match against BGC, it definitely seemed like Rhett was kind of the primary, kind of flag carrier for.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to do it again here as Render goes 1-0.
Nice job. So, I think, yeah, I mean, and this is pretty big because we were saying Render hasn't been in this tournament at all before, whereas Illuminati has taken the first two. So it is nice to see, Render be able to give Illuminati a run for their money.
So we got that back smack from Blind Dreams. Like I said earlier, coming from Calling All Angels. And no, but going back to what you were saying, Thomas, I agree completely. Like I said, Calling All Angels, last Spirit of Combat, probably the best run for the money that Illuminati has had so far. But I'm kind of seeing Render maybe even going beyond that. Not necessarily beating them, but like at least making up for some better matches here at the end of this tournament.
So we've got both of the flags just right here next to each other. It's just gonna be a matter of who can get. And we've got Wrath of Sweat grabbing that flag
out
again.
of that fire. And he's gonna keep going too.
So much going on in that one small segment. With all these tight corners, it's easy for him to avoid fire as well. Another score going to Render Esports here. Wrath of Sweat really not wanting to give up any momentum he has with that flag.
It's really easy to be that player who never stops moving, but I mean, to do it consistently and just being aware of your surroundings the whole time is something like it's not common to see, but Wrath of Sweat seems to know. I mean, like, I hate to keep saying the same stuff over and over, but he knows his map, he knows what he's doing. It's easy just to like charge in, think that bouncing off the walls is going to get you through a firefight, but I mean, it looks like he's actually like showing it here. Manifest unfortunately couldn't get through.
Manifest definitely trying his best to get the flag anywhere near their spawn.
Not often we see both flags up here on top. next to Camo.
Now, I mean, as far as pathing goes for that, that's definitely not the ideal path. Like, you do not want to be up there, right? Not
Yeah, I
with
mean,
the
I find
flag.
myself normally like going bottom either through you know, like utility or a fridge or something. But I mean, I guess you got to change it up. I mean, I say that, but I mean, then you start making assumptions.
Oh, wow. Oop. Lots of close combat in this one. I know we saw, definitely with the BGC match, we saw a lot of kind of ranged firefights going on, but the teams definitely seem to be more up close and personal than this time.
No, absolutely, and you have both spawns. Like obviously, just with any map, you're gonna like spray a couple bullets to the other at the beginning of the map, but ultimately, this is gonna become like a waste of time. You're not often gonna actually get those kills. More of just to bug the other team.
Eagle flag returned.
So,
Eagle flag.
my favorite color is purple. So I think I'm just gonna have to go ahead and jump on that
Oh,
bandwagon
man.
with you for Illuminati, just
Oh,
because of the purple.
that's not fair at all to Render over here.
Hey,
All right. You take Illuminati. I'm gonna go for Render now.
no?
Blue.
Oh, so you're still jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, Render's ahead, so you're still bandwagoning. That's all I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of like my strategy with
Oh
anything.
my
I'm always on the winning team.
Play
But
both
hey,
sides. That way you
I mean,
always come out on top, right?
That's big of me because purple, also my favorite color, and I let you have that pretty easily.
Oh, wow. Thank you for being so kind.
Yeah, of course.
We've got Red the Sweat getting
Sweat.
completely
Getting heat waved
scorched.
right there. That's something that kind of with Halo Infinite, I haven't really started doing quite as much. Like Halo 5, I loved that sidearm, that pistol. I don't know if like they patched in some of the updates, but I definitely see, especially like more pro players, more competitive players like these guys, picking it up more and more on par with some of the other power weapons even.
Well, part of that definitely just has to be with the quick, weapon swap time that you have with it.
Absolutely, and I Mike Fathom back there tried to make a run to the flag, met by two of Render's teams. Looks like something Render's going to go of binge and go for over there.
And yeah, what is crazy here is that we've seen both teams have plenty of time with the flag. It's definitely not one-sided at all. And even when you look at the KDA here, both teams just kind of have it's almost dead even. And so Illuminati's putting back a bit of a fight here, getting a score on the board.
No, and yeah, even with Render having that 2 flag margin right there, that 1 flag on Illuminati is just so big. It's so big in any competitive CTF. Just letting the other team know, like, hey,
Yeah, we're
we
not
have the
even
ability
close
to
giving
capture
up.
this flag. We're not done. It's not going to take much for us to come back and take this game. But this one really loving that sidearm. Going to pull that flag. Kind of straying away from throwing it down bottom there. I haven't quite seen that. It looked like he was going to try to flank around this time, change it up, keep Illuminati on their toes a little bit.
Chidawanga had a really good use of his dodge. And a very close fight there with Ghost as well. Now,
Flag returned.
do you think at any point we see either of these teams kind of switch it up? Obviously, we see Red the Sweat kind of being the primary flag carrier for Render. And at this point, it's paying off. You obviously don't want to change anything that's working for you. But let's say Illuminati starts to definitely make these strides and get back into the game a bit more. Do you think we see maybe somebody else try to switch it up with Red and kind of switch into that flag carrier role?
It's really hard to say with that kind of thing. I mean, like, if it ain't broke, I mean, why try to fix it, Like, Rhett obviously seems to be the movement guy for Render.
So
looks like we got
here. We do have
Ghost
Ghostberg. Almost uncontested there.
That's the thing, like, we do see Rhett good on the slays. Maybe not necessarily, like, his strong suit entirely for the team. But, looks like, I don't know, everybody on each team seems to, have talent in all aspects. Okay, goes for down mid, kind of just scoping out the other team's spawn. Looks kind of like a ghost town so far for him. Sticking together. Yeah, we can see, it seems like Illuminati's pretty heavy on the other, and I mean, we've seen this already in this game before, like, it might just be another situation where we get 2 flags, middle of the map, and then it's just a fight to see who can slay, return, get that quick cap there in the spawn.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially as we're winding down to 2 minutes left in this round.
Got
So
1 second for that camo. See if, looks like
Flag
Cheetah Wonga
returned.
does grab it. He can keep steady enough to not be.
there they go.
Oh.
Turn that flag. The Illuminati really needs this.
He might get it.
No. So at this point, when you're Illuminati and you're down 2, you are. I mean, at this point, do you just want to bum rush? I mean, at what point do you just say, "Hey, we've got to go grab the flag and hope we just get it back"?
You know, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I think they might be playing a little bit smarter than that. Like, now that we're coming to the last minute of the map, they kind of know maybe like, oh, we're not going to win this. Let's not be too hasty. Let them score even more points on us, and then just like kind of keep ourselves in their head for the next map. Like, we'll give them this one, but we're coming back.
We'll still show them that
Yeah.
we're still absolutely a force that they need to be scared of. Absolutely. Yeah.
Eagle flag captured.
So, and then we see Render grab another score over there for them. About 40 seconds left, unless some divine intervention comes in here. It does look like Illuminati is going to have to just concede this one. So as you were saying, though, they do want to still stay in the head of Render, though. You know, you still want to say, okay, well, you know, I know you guys were up 2 or up 3, but we were still able to stay competitive with you.
Yeah, we weren't making it easy on you. We're not going to make it easy on you next game. Sorry for all the dead air occasionally. We are having a little bit of lag issues on our stream, but it looks like we're back. And here, even at the last seconds of this map, like, still getting the slays, you know, still trying to assert that dominance on the other team. It's not something you see often. Illuminati losing a game, and Render really is coming out and showing them that, hey, we might want to take the spirit of combat.
Yeah, I mean that would be an upset, wouldn't it? But you know, you always want to
But I
see.
am Team Render now, so I guess that's
Oh,
good for me, right?
yeah, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll play the team Illuminati then. So, I mean, being down the first match, and of course there is still the losers bracket. So even if you know when one of these teams loses, they still have their way to make it back up. But when you're down in the first match, how is that going to affect you know how you go into the next one?
Um, well, especially for this next one, which is going to be Recharge and Slayer. I mean, it's still super early. It's not like make or break for either team. I mean, Illuminati can still sacrifice another loss. Um, but I mean, that's what I like to see from like these top seeds, these great competitive players. I'm kind of a simple man. I love the Slayer. I just
Yeah.
like to see what we can get out of 2 really good teams, just 4-on-4.
Well,
Seeing you could outkill.
it was really nice in that game because we saw just as far as like the scores, you know,
Yeah.
obviously Render came up on top with the more flat with the most flags, but as far as the actual like KDAs of the players went, it was almost dead even,
Yeah.
all the way to the end. So in
Like
a
right there
Slayer
from the
match,
start. Yeah,
yeah,
and it was even across the board too. It wasn't like any, I mean, we had like the heavier players, but I mean everybody was doing their part on
oh,
both teams, like
absolutely, yeah.
1v1s either way.
So
Um
Slayer is going to be quite interesting then. If every player is able to just pull that same weight, the same way they did in this last match, Slayer is going to be an absolute free for all fire fest. It's going to be
no,
great.
absolutely. I do honestly think though, and maybe going to the next one, both of these teams might start out a little bit more reserved. Like,
Yeah.
definitely going to wait to see what the other one's up to. You know, like which lanes are going down. But I think probably around mid match, like we've been seeing in this tournament, it's probably going to pop off and then accelerate from there. make it for a quick end.
And yeah, and we did obviously we saw that with the BGC match as well with Render that both teams just kind of started out at an incredibly slow pace, wanted to see how the other team wanted to approach. Um, as we have seen with Render, though, they do get to be kind of just very oppressive and very overwhelming for the other team. So if Illuminati is able to kind of give them the pushback and say, "Hey, I know this is how you like to play, but we aren't going to take that from you, and we're going to be just as oppressive," then you're definitely going to have quite the competitive game.
No, absolutely, and especially with that like oppressive like tactic, especially with recharge, it's all about breathing room. How much breathing
Mhm.
room you can get from the other team, and how much you can take from the other team as well. So it's really going to be just based on how we start out. But yeah, I mean, recharge. You're gonna have camo. You're gonna have the sword.
Mhm.
And Mangler, of course, my personal favorite. Shock rifle. Um, all very very precise weapons. It's going to be really down to who's more practiced, who feels more comfortable with these weapons.
Now, a lot of people, and I say this coming from the lowest of the lows in the ranks, right?
Mhm. I think
Uh,
we're both unranked right now. Haven't
yeah,
quite gotten around to doing that again.
I'm not looking forward to just kind of hanging around silver anymore. So,
Yeah,
um, but so I'll just stick with unranked and just tell people that I don't play ranked.
yeah,
Let
okay,
them guess at what I am. But we like to call it cheesing whenever you have the camo and the energy sword.
okay.
But that's just because I don't know how to play the game. At a pro level, what does that look like?
I don't know about a pro level, but I think for bots, we might be their worst nightmare.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I know that was probably about all we really did as part of preparing for this, learning the maps and stuff a little bit more. We did kind of fall off there from the Halo scene after like all the online issues and stuff. But that's why we love LAN so much.
absolutely.
Occasional server issue, uh, much better than not being able to connect to the server at all. So
Or just lagging across the map, or
yeah.
just teammates disconnecting. That's what you love to see. But
Absolutely.
I think this match is absolutely going to be just an absolute. I'm hoping anyways that we just see an absolute all out brawl. I want to see a 49-49 game.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love sitting back and seeing all of the like tactical play of all these teams, sometimes I just want to see everybody go crazy. I
Yeah,
want it to be fast. I want it to be
just all out. Just let it loose.
yeah,
Like I said, these guys have been playing all day. They both still have the losers bracket to fall back to, even if they lose. Have some fun. Maybe. No,
absolutely. Yeah,
I would.
yeah,
Maybe that's why I'm not on a team.
yeah. Are you allowed to be professional in Halo and have fun?
I don't think so.
In the wise words of Mike Fathom, actually, he described the. I feel like you should be one of the ones with the quotes now that you're the Illuminati fan.
Oh,
The other day, he told me that a Halo was chess with guns, and I was like, "All right, never heard that one before."
oh man, I've never even. I'm
And
just a pawn
point
in
is, have you
chess.
ever had fun playing chess?
No, I
Point
guess.
made, and we're going to end of the game watching Mike Fathom. Trying to get some shots across the map here.
And
Gonna
so,
get Leader Ness as he's falling off the top there.
and it looks a little counter to how we were assuming this would start out. A little slow. It looks like both teams are
Yeah,
definitely just running straight into it.
that lets anybody at home know what's up instead we know nothing. We have no idea what we're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about at any given point.
I definitely don't know
I'm
what's going on.
surprised they let us do this. But going back to the game, got Manifest here throwing some nades, trying to hold back, maybe flank. Kind of got quiet there for a second on the
It's
map. Everybody's kind of like waiting.
slow down a little bit for everybody. They said now that
This
we've
is where we're right. Yeah, they're like, all right, we don't want Cyber
Hey,
Sparrow and Puff Slushy to feel silly in there.
yeah,
Let's
no,
all hold back a little bit.
of course they're listening to
Go
us, right?
slow. I would hope so. Yeah.
They're like,
I
let,
don't know.
let let them have some repertoire, right?
Cheetah Wonga won't answer my calls. I
Oh
can't
wow.
get a hold of him.
Manifest got a good just back smack there on to Ghostifer. And so, yeah,
I
both
mean,
teams are
Slayer
definitely
for
playing the moves slow.
Illuminati is definitely probably one of their like stronger game types. Up 4 right now. I mean, it just really takes less than a minute to take hold of a game.
Ooh, that's an unfortunate miss there with that shock rifle. You get taken by surprise. Shock rifle is definitely, if you are not accurate with that at all, then you're not going to be able to be successful with it.
What I'm really liking here from Render is, like I said, like they are new to Spirit of Combat. Illuminati I've seen play quite a few times, but Render's kind of forcing Illuminati to play at a more patient level, which I've not seen from them before. So it's good to see how they react to this type of gameplay. Definitely, most games just try to go in, hit hard, go fast, kind of like take the team by surprise. Not seeing too much of Ret the Sweat here, but we do have Leader Nest. What did you say he was? A Cheesin, maybe?
Leader Nest is a season. He's a cheeser. You know that camo in the store?
Yeah.
Yeah, cheeser. Good double kill there, though. And this game is absolutely
like
15-15. So look at that.
Every time I start to praise one team, I think they might hear me and then push a little harder.
Yeah.
Come back. All tied here.
They're like, oh no, we're down. Can't
Looks
let
like
Pups
Render's
let you down.
up 2 now. Starting to swing the game the other way.
And so yeah, it really is just both of these teams just absolutely dominant in their games typically. So when you see an immovable object, you need an unstoppable force. That's basically what's going on right now.
Manifest waiting in a back hall, trying to make use out of this sword. I'll be honest, like, something that I haven't really seen as far as the matches we've been watching is anybody kind of like taking use of, you know, like the grapple or the compressor or anything like that. I feel like they're very power weapon heavy in their tactics.
Yeah, you know, obviously we did see the camo used several times, but
No, absolutely.
yeah, it definitely seems like they're using it in a more passive or defensive way instead of kind of aggression whenever it comes to it, even with the, like you said, the grapple shot or the repulsor.
Yeah, and the repulsor, and that's what I'm liking the most about this game right here is there's never a quiet moment until there is, and it's just absolute gunfire, no, like playing all across the map, and then it's almost like everybody turns into a deer in headlights and kind of just stops.
So they're like, all right,
scans.
Well,
like something's up. There's
at that time, I mean, you definitely have to be the teams are definitely saying, okay, let's take a breath, reassess. Where are we? Where are they? And you say, absolutely, how are we going to approach this next engagement? So yeah, definitely the combat is definitely coming just in waves at this point.
having a little bit of low res on our stream, but the purple and blue bars seem pretty even, so we'll go back to just making accusations of what we think might be going on in the game right now.
So I've seen the shock rifle several times in this game, and almost with no success. At this point, I mean, if it was me, I would say I'm probably gonna drop this and move on to the next weapon. If I'm missing 4 out of my 5 shots with it, and then I'm dying because of that, I'm gonna try something new.
And that's the thing about like these LAN events, especially like unless you get here, you go on academy mode, you like practice with every weapon, make sure like you get your accuracy, and especially just the starting and stopping all day. You might get a little bit cold, and then maybe you're great with the shock rifle on any given day, but you try to bring it in, maybe the nerves. bringing your actions down a little bit, and then the more you miss, you know, the more you worry about it.
When it comes to a competitive environment too, you know, you want to be adaptable. Obviously, these are incredibly skilled players, and they know how to use all of these weapons. But like you were saying, once you start getting a little cold with it, you know, being adaptable, being able to move on to the next weapon or a different combat style can definitely maybe be what you need to do.
I mean, what weapons do you think we're not seeing enough of? I honestly I love the Mangler. I would like to see more of that. We've seen it pulled a few times on this map. I feel like Commando was pulled maybe at the winter semis a little bit, but people really love the BR. It looks like we're heavy on camo and sword, you know, like the
Oh, well,
big power weapons, but
of course, you have sword.
it feels like everybody's just comfortable with their BR, which, I mean, if you're good with it, you're good with it.
You know, I am personally a fan of the Needler, and I have not seen anybody touch that bad boy.
I'll be honest, I can't. This Infinite Needler, I don't know if it's different or I just got older and
Or
like,
maybe
I just
it
don't know
was
what's
just
going on. It's
never
just not the
as
Needler
good
that I
as-
remember. Yeah. Maybe it was
it's
the
just
only
never
way I
good.
could ever get a kill.
You just hope somebody doesn't see you and just
Yeah.
unload enough needles till they explode. Exactly. So here we see Rhett just kind of,
Yeah, we
again,
got
with that
the
movement, being able to just
Commando
get
here.
across the map when he needs to. Especially right now with that grapple shot. And it is absolutely dead.
Hey.
Even I said I wanted to see a 49-49 game, and we are approaching that mark.
Yeah, we're approaching that. I mean, like you said, dead game. Everybody understands, like, both teams super close, approaching that 50. Don't want to be the guy who runs out.
Yeah, you
Give
don't.
this team, other team the advantage, you know?
So
We don't need a Leroy Jenkins out here.
Yeah, we'll definitely start to see it slow down a little bit as it approaches, as long as it stays that even.
Looks like Ritter is widening that margin a little bit. Up 4 now, 3 to go, 2 to go now.
Now, see Illuminati kind of pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like you said, nobody wants to be the Leroy Jenkins.
Unsure if he's going to go for that sword. He knows it's going to kind of keep him vulnerable.
Now there's that last kill
Goes
away.
with the camo advantage. This might be.
And there
Yeah,
it
it
goes.
looks like they're
Goes
going
through
to
with
take
that
it.
last kill. So, quite the Slayer match. Both teams absolutely showing up. But Render ESports taking that 2-0 lead over Illuminati. Are you surprised?
Um, me from the beginning of the series, not at all, because I was an Illuminati fan at that point.
Okay.
Now, yeah, a little bit. I would say, like I said, I really expect Illuminati to come out here super fast paced. Didn't quite get what they wanted out of that, like, and capture the flag. Here, um, eh, they attempted, but I mean, Render's just kind of pushing back. Like,
Yeah,
they're going
Render.
hard, but there's just this wall. It's just like they cannot get past it.
Yeah, Render definitely. You know, and just to start straight out from the beginning of that match. You know, we were kind of thinking that it would start out a little slower, but both teams just immediately just pushing into each other, and that's exactly what we saw Render do against BGC. For Illuminati's sake on this, they definitely gave the pushback, but it just ended up not being enough for them at the end. But still an incredibly close game all the way through.
Yeah. So, what do you think is going to happen here in Oddball and Streets coming up next?
Streets is my favorite map for Oddball. There's so many places to kind of hole up. However, you just have to be. So here's what I'm thinking. Your team has the spanker. It's a lot easier to hole up, right? It's a
Absolutely.
lot easier to defend. Just find a corner, hole up with the rest of your team, and defend. If the other team has the spanker, you're not going to want to be the team holding up because they can easily just take all of you out at once.
Absolutely. It's all about like giving each other space, especially on Streets, especially with the power weapons in play. I genuinely hope we see this oddball game go to Illuminati, mainly because I would like to move on to see a Strongholds game. Like, I feel like that's where teams really shine, and we have yet to see that so far, at least in these winners brackets right here.
Yeah, yeah. I was definitely wondering when we would get to a Strongholds game. So if Illuminati takes this game, we will be going into a Strongholds round. Um, so I mean, at the end of the day, we've already seen Render play Oddball. How did you like how they were playing?
I thought they came off really strong, especially with Scarlet. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that quite as well, or execute that quite as well with Illuminati. But at the same time, it seemed like with Scarlet, there was a couple games or rounds where they were getting comfortable, and Scarlet kind of like realized what their play was and almost came back there for a moment. So I think that it's just all about not giving Illuminati a second to respond. And for Illuminati, I mean, we're just gonna have to see like how they go with the match type in general.
Jumping into the match here, we've got Ghostifer dropping a couple shields, throwing out the grenades. The teams are definitely just gonna kind of hover around this Oddball at first.
Looks like they might have taken different routes, but we got two coming up on Render right there, taking out Ghostifer. Mike Fathom with the Spanker. Looks like he's got one rocket left. Not quite sure what happened to the first one, but he makes good use of it.
Leader Nest falls down to that Spanker. And now we see Illuminati still with the ball though, despite the Spanker going the side of
And you see the way Render handled that right there. I mean, Mike Fathom, great player. You do not want to 1v1 him. I mean, that's what you're gonna have. You're gonna have to group together, because I mean he pushes. Like that's definitely like his type of game type.
and that can be sort of a disadvantage too, because you don't want to try to dedicate 2 men to 1 person, because now the rest of your team is at a disadvantage against the other 3, right? However, when it comes to Mike, kind of what you have to do. And so now we're seeing exactly what I was kind of hoping we would see. The team grabs the ball and just kind of pulls up.
And like what you're not seeing is the rest of his team kind of just in there defending, which is a smart move. Put a couple on the ramp right out there to the left. Maybe one checking out A as much as they can, kind of just calling out. Looks like he might go up high. I'm not sure if like. It's hard to tell what the smart move is with Oddball, because I mean, nothing's a secret, you know. So like, it's how exposed you want to be. Do you want to hold up? Do you want to stay on the move?
Of course. And then at what point do you say, my team needs me, I've got to drop this ball and jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. Take the high ground up there, drop the ball, let it sit there till I take it again, or until one of my teammates picks it up. Get a couple slays. And see, and he's making sure he's covering all corners before they decide to pick that ball up again.
Cobra team halfway to victory.
Alright, Illuminati halfway up there.
Ball taken.
See everybody on the side of Illuminati down for a moment.
Like Retho Sweat is gonna pick it up for Render, try to make a little bit of a comeback here. Everybody's kind of holding up in the same area. I can't blame them. Like that's my favorite place whenever playing Street. If you're not there, you're rotating, and it's just about how risky you want to be with the ball, like how out in the open you want to be.
Yeah, and so far on this match, we have been in the same spot of the map the entire game. We haven't gone even on the other half of the map this far. So
anytime we switch to anybody, picks up rockets, anything, we're kind of surprised, because like all the action is in this one corner. And that's really going to be the turning point of this game, is staying back enough to defend, but also pushing or like staying out in the open enough to make sure the other team doesn't get the advantage on you.
Back on Ret the Sweat there. Now, nobody holding the ball at the moment.
Ret saw somebody in the Illuminati. There he is, peeking around, taking his time, getting the kill with that shotty. We got Mike Fathom taking advantage.
Ball taken.
So, I think at this point, you know, Render's evening the game back up quite a bit. We got basically 50-50, even though they were down a considerable amount there. Their team also has the Spanker at the moment, and as we just saw Mike Fathom get taken out with it. I think, you know, at this point, Illuminati's gonna have to just kind of find a way to get in on that ball, because if it goes on much longer, they're gonna be way too far behind.
Especially starting off with a big lead. I feel like it's even more disheartening having the other team take a lead over you. Coming
Good
back.
double kill from Manifest here. And he picks up the ball. And back into the corner we go. It's almost like they're
Illuminati responding, yeah.
It's almost like
You can have a lead, but not too much of it.
Of course.
Approaching within 11 seconds now. Looks like Rhett might get the advantage with the kill.
Individual players is again almost dead. These two teams are incredible. This might in this match.
Looks like we had a ball reset. Blind Dreams checking out the area before making the commitment to grab that ball. That respawn is going to be detrimental at this point in the game. Closing in 100 for Render. There's 30 seconds. 10 of those seconds can be wasted if you're sprinting back.
Grab that Spanker, of course.
Doesn't look like he got it, but will live.
Cobra team nearing victory.
Here we go. Illuminati back up on top.
It's going to be quick. Doesn't look like he hit. Oh, got the assist though.
Alright, and then there it is, an absolute back and forth on the scoop. Oh, that was great.
Render approaching that 100 mark fairly fast. Don't know if they're going to be able to get it. Doesn't look like it. All right, well, we got Render up 1-0. I know we were complaining about these long oddball games, but I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, again, you do want to, like we were saying, we kind of want to see a stronger than that. And of course, Illuminati. So, you are down at this point. This is the make or break it for you as Illuminati. They are going to have to fight their way back all the way through this match, and then all the way through the next two.
Much more aggressive start to this round than the last one we saw. It's besides Cheetah Wong, it doesn't look like there's really anybody on the left alive on the map. Looks like everybody's gonna reset. Might as well just restart the game. Still no points on the board.
Ball taken.
Alright, looks like Render finally picks up the ball, putting some points on the board here.
And we said at the end of that last match, you said that any of that spawn timer is going to be detrimental the closer you get to 100, because you don't want to have to spend the time getting we had seen right there towards the end, early on, you can die as much as you want almost. You're just trying to feel out how this player and that player is going to do it. But it's hard to kind of break out of that mentality of, okay, well I can engage this way, and I can, interact this way with the other team. As the game starts to go on, you were stuck in that. You have to start saying, okay, slow it down because we can't be done.
Absolutely, and I think Render kind of has like that same idea, like that same mindset going into this round. Like the ball isn't being held the same corner of the map as it was last time. It looks like they're taking advantage to see the more open area, the more movement. Not quite letting Illuminati get that feel for them that they're hoping to get. Kind of just keeping the ball moving, just like in that tight space as much as they can. Going over by trash cans, dropping down, redoing, and letting the Slayers on their team sled.
Personally, I have no way of ever understanding how these maps work out the way they work out. Where do I stand? What do I do? I usually just get out the middle of the game. So
Eagle team. Wait.
It's a tactic as old as time, you know, like.
I am the leader.
And we get to respawn, so like, we'll try it as many times until it works, you know. Like, Cheetahwonga almost defending the oddball. Got blind dreams coming up on it. Looks like he decided not to fight, but throw it more towards the middle, hoping his team, coming from the Illuminati, might be able to pick it up, than to leave it there for Render. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because the Render's just like really taking advantage of that C area, just making sure that like they're stumping Illuminati, and Illuminati knows that that's not the headspace that they're in. Get it out back to the middle. Reset it even if you can. Looks like they got it back. Might go different if they can get a hold of it, bring it back across, and play the game they were at the beginning of last round.
Match where you do want to, if you're Illuminati, you do have to start being more careful with your deaths. Ball is there.
He's almost unsure. He felt like it kind of feels like the beginning of a horror movie right there. I'm not really sure what happened there, but
Ball taken.
I might fathom coming back, adding some points on for Illuminati.
Ball taken.
Now, Illuminati, yeah, definitely hoping that they can just hold on to this team.
Let's see, it looked like the game plan before that was to get it out in the open, and Mike Fathom just said, hey, if it works for them, maybe it'll work for us.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can keep it out of that, you know, out of the spawn, or out of the spawn, because at that point, you know, they can just keep coming in, and grabbing that ball, so getting it away from them was absolutely huge for them.
Looks like Illuminati got a good chunk of points on the board, but Render's back with the ball in their hands.
Eagle team nearing
20 seconds left now.
Minutes left in the match.
Illuminati really just grouping together, really trying to just...
Sitting underneath the stairs. They just let him sit on the stairs for way too long.
Yeah, like you could see, just like perfect angle to tell they weren't really like checking their bases, making sure nobody was just sitting back, but that's just a really smart play there from Red.
Cheetahwonga.
Cheetahwonga,
I think he kind of thought he
almost.
had.
He
I think he
knew.
thought he had it there.
I mean, but
But of course, Illuminati, all it takes is one good, and there it is. Render ESports grabbing that 3-0 over Illuminati. And as the reigning champs, you absolutely hate to see that happen.
no, without a doubt, and I just have a lot of mixed feelings right now because, like I said, I've been waiting for somebody to come and take the grand finals away from Illuminati, but now that we're actually here, I'm kind of sad.
Ah,
I don't, you know,
well, Illuminati is not out of it yet. Absolutely
no,
not.
not even,
So
not even a little bit.
they're going to be going down to the losers bracket, but they obviously have the ability to work their way back up and face off against the I guess Render is going to be in the grand finals now, so Illuminati has a way to come back up and face them in the grand finals.
Absolutely. I believe the next game we're streaming is going to be on the losers bracket. We're going to take a little break, me and Cyber Sparrow here, and we'll see you in a little bit.